Right, what we're doing here is we're going to look at oil-based paints, and we're going to look at how to prepare oil-based paint for when we start, okay? So sometimes you can keep brushes just stood in water. Have you seen that? Where they've just been stood in water? And another way is to keep them in a brush keep, okay? So this brush keep here, I'll tip it up so you don't have to come over here because it is really strong in fumes. In that brush keep, there's little clips on the sides, and all the brushes, these are all oil-based paint, hog hair brushes, okay? So it's a natural bristle, yeah? Each of these are clipped in. Now when I take them out, they're still soft. They've been in there. These haven't been used this year yet in our teaching, and we went off in March because of COVID. These haven't been touched, yeah, and they're still soft. The reason they're soft is because we've got this here. This liquid is put in the bottom of the tub. A piece of cord is then dipped into there. And what that does, it just helps the liquid to chuck its fumes around the box if you want. So it's basically just fumes that's keeping that. Then brushes and oil-based wet, it does stink. What you don't want to do is put your head right over it. Okay. Once you've got your brush, because it's really strong and it'll make you feel a bit sick. Once you've got your brush, the lid has to go on. Okay? Tight on. Because if any air gets into that, or all the fumes disappear, if that liquid disappears, they'll just all go hard. And I'll say there's about 20 of them in there. 20, tray 20, holds 20 brushes. 20 brushes at probably 10 a piece, that's 200 quid's worth of kit there, so you don't want to be leaving the lid off. Alright. So once you've got the brush, say they've been there a while, just take out the excess. Get a piece of paper for this, there's loads of wallpaper kicking about in the prep rooms, in the workshops. Take out the excess. If you found it's built up around here, then you might want to scrape it off, but this one isn't, okay? Can I just have a rag out of there, please, Gary? What you could do when you go it is just give the ferrule, this is this nice shiny bit here, give the ferrule a wipe, and you can see when I wipe it, it just comes really clean because the paint hasn't dried on it. Give the brush handle a wipe, like this, and that's good to go. And like you asked, what's this over here? This is just built up paint over the years. We've probably been in this workshop now for about 10 years, and that's just 10 years worth of paint. And that's just working your brush out, getting the excess out your brush, like this, and it's perfectly okay to do this because this is what we use it for. Getting the excess out your brush before you then put it back in the brush keep, okay? So you haven't got loads of paint in there because you don't want paint dripping into the bottom. Alright, so that brush is there, good to go. So that's the brush keep. We're going to keep them in the stores. Alright, so Gary can keep an eye on, make sure the lids are on. Right, so I've finished with that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over this side because I'm going to look for some undercoat. And if I just have a look at these, over here what we've got: white, grey, cream, green. Let's use the green. Alright. We'll see. Yeah. So when you take the lid off, special tin opener in there, look. Make sure you get around the tin. This has been on for ages as well, so we haven't used these since September or even March, some of them. So they're taking a bit of getting off. The key is to get some air in it. There we go, got a bit of air in it now. So I should think when we take this off, what's happened in there, do you think?
Oh, Shane's last week. Dave's on about it last week.
Was he? The oil's come to the top, okay? The pigment is the heaviest bit of the paint, so the pigment has come to the top, okay? Sorry, the pigment's gone to the bottom, the oil has come to the top. So just using a stick, what we're going to do is, we can't get rid of that, because without that, the paint's not going to flow out properly, okay? So what we're going to do is get right into the bottom, and stir all that back in. You'll find that it's a lot thicker in the bottom when you do this. because what happens is the heavy bit sinks to the bottom, which is the pigment. The lighter parts of the paint come to the top. So you've got to make sure that you bind them all back in. Oil-based paint contains oil.
Paint.
It's paint at the end. Pigment, so oil, pigment, and what else?
Water.
Not water, because it's oil-based.
Oil. Taps.
Which is most
White
commonly
spirit.
called white spirit. Yeah, so white spirit. You can have other additives in paint as well, but that's its basic makeup. Should have got one that I'd done earlier, shouldn't I? But hey ho. But make sure you get rid of the two-tone colour. Get them right into the bottom. Sometimes I found that if you just do that, you sort of bring the bottom to the top at the end. Right. Now it's undercoat. When we use undercoat, what does undercoat do? We spoke about what primer did this morning, that satisfy the porosity of the wood. What does undercoat do? Undercoat.
Makes the gloss. Helps the gloss.
Helps the gloss.
Grip.
Grip. What else does it do?
Makes it solid.
Solid. Yeah. What it does, it gives the substrate the colour. Okay. The gloss gives it the shine and a bit of colour. The undercoat gives it a lot of covering power and colour. Alright, so I'm just going to leave that there for a minute because I'm also going to show you how to wash out the brush, because the brush we've got is in purple. We don't want purple, okay? We're going to wash them out in white spirit. So, just like when you're washing them out in water, what you're going to do is you're just going to keep plunging the brush, okay? And if you look at that, you can see that all the colour's coming out and it's coming out of the hairs. Why do we use natural bristle brushes in oil-based paint?
They'll damage the brush if you want natural.
Not particularly. Anybody else?
Because you do.
Because you do. That's a good answer. Because you do.
Is it clean, is it?
Not about cleaning either. Have you ever seen a hair under a microscope?
No.
Yeah. If you have, you'll see, and this is like magnified and magnified and magnified. Under a microscope, it's like scales. Okay. A natural bristle brush, and these come from a hog, which is a pig. Okay. These have natural scales. So what that does, it holds the paint onto the bristles. It doesn't just slide out. With a synthetic brush, it won't grab it as well. So a natural bristle brush is for oil-based paint, synthetic for water-based paint. So I've got it clean. What I'm going to do is just spin it between your palms like that, and you're just getting rid of any excess. So that now has got no white spirit in. If you leave white spirit in it and then put another colour, what will happen is the white spirit will start coming out and dripping on here, dripping off your elbow. Alright? So that there, if you do wash anything out in white spirit, it goes in this tub here. Okay? That's our white spirit tub. Alright.
What does that do?
That gets taken away, okay? We can't dispose of that down drains, in sinks or anything. So this gets taken away, okay, disposed of properly. Right. So, what I do need is some more white spirit. So, who knows where the white spirit is in the stores?
Oh, me.
You?
Yeah.
Go on then. You can go get us one, Alice. Thank you. Right, because this is just settled, I'm just going to check it again. Last thing I want to do is leave or just use oil or just use pigment. Okay, when you take the stick out, don't just hang it up and let it drip all over. Make sure you wipe it clean. Okay, even if you're going to use it again, wipe it clean because we don't want to put them on the side and just get everywhere covered in paint. You know by now, being painters, that paint just gets everywhere, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to hang that back up there. Or sometimes you could just do this where you're about to use it again. Just put it on the lid. Just don't leave them on the top. Thank you very much. Right, now you will find that when you use oil-based paint, these are good gloves, aren't they? When you use oil-based paint, can you see, Jonathan? Can you come round so you can see? Oh, that's a good one. So, pour out the back. Now, I didn't mean that sarcastically, I know it sounded it. Pour out the back, okay? Handle away from you, pour out the back. Now, oil-based paint is a lot runnier than water-based paint, so it will tend to drip on the side more, so you just have to be careful. So, pour quickly, stop quickly, round, and then obviously we wipe the back and we pour out the back. Why?
So I can see what it says on the front.
Yeah, because what does it say on the front?
Colour.
The colour. Yeah, there. Brilliant. It's very small. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, pop that lid on. Just going to take my brush out. Now, I want the undercoat to flow. I don't want to put loads of brush marks back into it because you've just rubbed them all out, haven't you? So, what I need to do is add a bit of white spirit. Okay. 2 thin coats of undercoat are better than 1 thick one. 2 thin coats are going to be smoother than 1 thick ropey one. And this morning, I spoke to you two about laying off, didn't I? Really important with oil based. You don't want to leave brush marks in. So all I'm going to put in here is a capful. That's enough. Okay, that's enough for what I want. But I'm going to stir that white spirit in. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Good. The white spirit is the solvent, and it's also the thinner and the cleaner. So it cleans your brushes, it thins the paint, but it's already in the paint, and that's what helps it to flow in the first place. Okay. So again, wipe the stick, hang the stick up, ready for the next person. Make sure lid's on white spirit, nice and tight, all back, and then we can go ready to paint whatever we're going to paint.
Good.